In this lesson, you're going to learn how to duplicate and rotate objects at a particular angle. So first thing we're going to start out with is a sphere and a cone dragged out onto the workplace. So I'll wait for you. The first thing that I want you to do is rotate your cone to 90 degrees. Just like that. You can also just type in the number here for the angle and hit enter. So I'll wait until you're done with that. The next thing that I want you to do is turn your view cube so that the sphere is facing you and the cone is facing away. And what you're going to do is you are going to group these two objects and then you are going to align them. So you are going to align them like this. So they're in line with each other. And then I know this is probably going to sound strange, but you're going to hit that middle guide dot so that they align together. I'm going to wait for you to do that. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is just click on the cone, and then you can use your directional arrows on your keyboard to push it through just until it's like a point. So as if this is the point of a petal. And then you are going to look to make sure that your measurements are 20 by 20 by 20 millimeters. Okay, don't push it too far through. It should only be till it is flush with the side of the sphere. So I'll wait until you're done. Now you're going to use your view cube so that the tip of the cone is facing you. And you're going to click on just the cone and just the length of the cone and bring it down to 50. Again, you could just put in that 50 and click on it, which might be simpler, as I am trying to get 50 right now. And I'm just going to type in 50 and hit enter. And so it should look like this. I'll wait for you to do that. Now I'm going to use my directional arrows. After I have clicked on the cone, I'm going to use my directional arrows just so I have a clean line there. Notice I moved it down ever so slightly. I'm going to let you do that. Next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to group both my sphere and the cone. So now it is a solid color. And then if I click on them and I click on solid, I have a choice of colors. I'm going to make this white. Notice this does not change the color of the plastic in 3D printing. It is simply used as a guide here in this presentation for modeling purposes. The next thing I'm going to do is bring down the size of my flower petal. So I'm going to make this 10. By 20. And then I am going to use my view cube to turn this on its side. And I am going to change the height to 7. So I'm going to give you a moment to do that. So again, I began by changing the size this way to 20 long, 10 wide, and then I reduce the height to 7. Look at my flower petal from this way, and I'm going to click on it, and then up here I'm going to click duplicate. Now you don't see that there is another one. There are two actually here, one on top of another, but it is there. And then I am going to turn just one of them 30 degrees. So it almost looks like a tooth. So I'm going to have you try that now. And what I want you to do is just click on one, and you're going to use your keyboard's directional arrows to move one out just until the points are touching. And you might need to use your directional arrow to move to the right and then move down a little bit. So it should look like this. So 2 petals of a flower, almost like a heart. Now here's where the magic happens. As long as the 2 tips of your flowers are touching toward the center, then you should be able to hit duplicate again and again and again and again and again and again and again, and you will have all of the petals of your flower. Try that. If it doesn't work, something that you can try and do is just copy that petal and open it again in a new project. I had a little bit of trouble with it myself. The next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to group my petals together. Okay. And then I am going to pull out a sphere to be the center of my flower. But I'm going to click on solid, change it to yellow, and then I am going to align it so that it is in the center of my flower. Oops. So if I look at it from overhead, that'll give me a better idea of whether it is centered. So I'll wait for you. If you use your view cube to look at it from the side, it should look like a sunny side egg. So I want you to use the view cube and check it out. We don't want it that high, so we are going to click on it. And you don't want to change the height off of the work plane. You want to change the height of the sphere. So we're going to change that to 10. And then I'm going to hit enter. And then I am just going to use the view cube to look at it from overhead again and check if it's centered. If you're unsure, you can do a line again to check it out. And mine looks like it is. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I'll wait for you to do it. The next thing that I did to make a stem was I grabbed one of the Taurus, dragged it out on the mat, made the length 72, 75, 70 is fine, and then you're going to also want to use the view cube to change the height. I changed my height to off of the work plane to 4, and then you are going to use a cylinder changed into a hole to cut it in half. I don't know if you remembered, we did that in an earlier lesson. So if I place this here and make this also 60, and then line it up, turn it into a hole. Okay. So you can see where I am headed, trying to cut this in half so that it is just a stem. I can make it as thin as I want. And now if I group these two together, I should have a stem for my flower. A stem that is not going to stick out of the front. So I can look at it from all directions. You can see it underneath, and that's how my flower would come out. So I want you to try that, and then in the last part of the lesson, see if you can create petals that sit on the mat for the stem of your flower. Good luck.